reality and is influenced by other planets, other forces. And we're in a place and space where there's shifting that's happening. And for those of you who have been familiar with me for years now, I'm saying y'all can't keep listening and not doing what you need to do and be all right. Okay? Because once you hear the truth and your spirit is resonating with all of the untruth that we've been given as a part of the socialization in a system of oppression, then know that you've been given time for correction. You're giving time for repentance. You've been given time to cleanse, to purify, to make new commitments. You're given time on a daily basis to reorient yourself, not as a part of the system of oppression, but to really anchor and be in a place and space where you realize that you are always in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence that we refer to as God, that I refer to as life, that I refer to as this ocean of cosmic consciousness, that we have the opportunity to choose at what level of consciousness that we care to experience here. And so you can have the consciousness of the hog, because you've been eating so much pig and so much hog butt, hog balls, hog, just hoggish. And people who, and this is, don't take it personally. My grandmama used to say, if the shoe fit, wear it. All right, but the issue is that y'all don't want to be out here in the midst of this absolute and supreme intelligence, being in a place where you filth. See, that's what that pig represents. Now, the pig in and of itself is an intelligent creature, right? These little piggies, they do just like the cats and everything. Everybody knows how to mate. They know how to perpetuate themselves and whatnot, you know. The issue for us is coming to a point in place where we respect that we have been perfectly and divinely designed. And no one is really designed to eat flesh. And these people have you in a place where it's like, if you ain't eating flesh, you feel like you haven't had a meal. And I'm saying, your mama wasn't no goddamn going buzzard and vulture. You understand? These are the creatures that pick the flesh of things that they did not kill. Otherwise, carnivores will hunt and kill. They're not going to feed off of something that's already dead. All right, so we're having to realize where I won't even say, I will say, the failure of what it is to be human, the failure of what it is to be godly, the failure of what it is to be in one's own authenticity is because of the defilement that comes from the toxicity of the blood. But when we clean it up, then we get a chance to be restored. So the issue is just having the care to clean up. You understand? I'm not trying to condemn you or indict you for having been poisoned by a system that is toxic. You understand? A system that has been perpetuated by toxic people. You understand? And these ones want to think that they themselves are a superior people, but there's no superiority in stupidity. There's no superiority in murder and being murderers and liars and thieves and bastardizers and usurpers and all of that. That is just the evidence of being out of alignment with the will of existence. And there's no way to survive it. And so it's not that we want to really be in so much judgment and condemnation of each other and other ones. It's realizing that it is a system of oppression, that there is an agenda and that is in full effect, that the church participates with it, the educational systems participate with it, and we have been, for all intents and purposes, influenced by a death culture, where we have been taught, even though we're in the realm of eternity, to believe that we're supposed to die, to believe that death is the natural culmination, finality, eventuality, unavoidability, and destiny and fate of what it is to have lived. But when you have those who are robbing you of your life force, enticing you, seducing you, behaviorally modifying you to be in a place where you are not caring to exert and exalt a full effort in your living. It's systemic. It's a system thing. And this is where the light of the people has been dimmed to the degree to which you have a nation that wants to be great. But you cannot have a great nation that undermines their children. You cannot have a great nation that bastardizes and usurps the integrity of womanhood. You cannot have a great nation where there is no intention to really be in a place where it matters. It matters that we are well nourished, we are well educated, we are cultivated and developed, because there are inherent talents and skills and abilities that we should have been cultivated to develop. That's what our education should have given us. And so now we're having the opportunity to do what needs to be done for those of us who have the clarity of mind and for those who care. Because you do not want your children and your grandchildren to be in a place where they're completely dependent upon you for your life while you're getting old. Why? Because you won't clear, cleanse, consecrate to get to the place where you're consistently renewing, regenerating, rejuvenating, revitalizing, revivifying. You understand? So you're getting old, and then you're having to take responsibility for the children that you help poison and your grandchildren and whatnot. And I'm just saying at this particular point in time, particularly those of us who are in maturity, it's our time to rise. It's our time to shine. It's our time to set a new precedent. It's our time to come to a point in place where we are literally accepting eldership, not just getting old. You ain't supposed to be getting old in the realm of eternity. There's only currency. Being current, being present, you understand? Being consistently renewing, rebirthing, regenerating, rejuvenating, revitalizing, revivifying. Do I look like I'm old? You understand? I'm just saying. It's like I've been in it for longer than many of you have been alive. But I'm just saying, at this particular point in juncture, no, we should be maturing. And coming into maturity, it's like, no, you set a precedent. We should be able to outthink stupidity. You understand? It is stupid to think that you can send your children into a box that they call school with no windows. And they're fed all kinds of garbage, and then they're supposed to learn something. You understand? The whole school system predicated on something that Hitler started. You understand? To have you in a place where you're controlled. There's no way to raise a man in a box. You understand? There's no, what does that mean? That means you have little boys who are destined to become men, who have been in school from kindergarten through 12th grade, but then they get to a point where they get agitated because, one, you can't raise a man in a box. And these ones who got educated, what did they do? They get their degrees and then they perpetuate the same garbage as principals and as teachers and this and that. And yeah, you could have good ideas, and those ones who became fraternal, you know, in terms of those who serve in the system of things. That's what the Greek organizations, we were being cultivated for leadership in the society, but we were never ever taught how to feed. And so yes, we got out of school, we got our degrees, we got our insignias and all of that, but to really have not been given the keys to our liberation. So that when I came out of college, having gone through the initiations into Greek sorority and whatnot, and realized that we never got what we needed, and then I couldn't exalt it. I could only exalt God. I could only exalt the life. I could not exalt the organization over that which beats my heart and breathes me. You understand? So it's like, no, I took it personally in leadership. That leadership comes from God. Leadership comes from right alignment with life. Leadership does not just come because you went through a period of initiation through an organization that prepared you for the consistent systemic perpetuation of that which is oppressive. And so for those who have gone through it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's not that I have no pride in my education. It's just that the education in and of itself does not ensure your progression. And in my mind, our education should ensure our progression. And so for the education to participate with the behavior modification in the sense that you're sending your 17, 18, 19-year-olds into an academic environment where they are now beginning to be subject to adulterated situations, right? In terms of the sex, the partying, the alcohol, the getting high, all of the things that we learned to do in college, so that by the time we come out 4 years, we have been completely adulterated. We was already on the path because we were fed breakfast cereals, cow's milk, cheese and eggs and all of that, so that the blood was defiled the entire time. But then by the time you add the alcohol, the tobacco, the reefer, and all these other things into that mix, yeah, you can still come out having studied. You can still come out, but the issue is that you are still blocked and obstructed from the reality of the divinity and the truth of oneself. And so we want to do better. We want to be in a place and space where we are literally unfolding. We are cultivating that which is the divinity and the truth of our being. You understand? And many ones think that there are many, many paths to do it, but you still have to have the aspiration for walking in the integrity. You still have to have the virtues of character. You have to come to a place where it matters to you how you serve and how you be with people. You understand that righteousness and that fairness and the capacity. I mean, there's nothing and no place in society that should be exempt from practicing godliness. You understand? There should be nothing that we do where God ain't in it. But because we have so much where God ain't in it, you understand? So in the hospitals, you don't have fresh air. In the hospitals, you don't have fresh food. In the hospitals, God ain't in it. You're not cleansing anybody. You're over-medicating. You're drugging them out. They're in air conditioning. They don't have fresh air. They can't sweat. You don't have where they can immerse themselves in baths. You understand? God ain't in it. And so at this particular point in time, I want you to really be in a place where if you're listening to me, listen to what I'm saying, but don't just listen. Begin to implement your own commitments to liberating at the cellular level. I'll be forward in just a bit.
The following is a message from one of WRFG's 501c3 supporters. Georgia State University's Rialto Center for the Arts presents Tango After Dark, direct from Argentina, on Saturday, February 14th at 8 p.m. World Tango champion Germán Cornejo leads a company of 10 dancers in an evening of tango choreography accompanied by live music performed by 2 vocalists and 7 musicians. The program features music by celebrated composer Astor Piazzolla. The event includes a pre-show tango lesson with dance canvas, giving audiences a chance to learn a few steps before the performance begins. For tickets and more information about the website is rialto.gsu.edu. That's rialto.gsu.edu.
public service announcement from one of WRFG's 501c3 partners. The Georgia Cooperative Development Center, in association with Athens Clarke County, presents Shared Futures Co-op Academy, a shared services cooperative training program and pilot launch designed to support the growth of cooperative enterprises, workforce development, collective work, and positive social community impact. This initiative provides education and resources for individuals and organizations in the Athens Clarke County area interested in learning cooperative business models and how to launch your own cooperative with a pilot co-op launch. Exploring shared services as a pathway to stronger, more resilient communities is the goal. For more information or registration, the website.
And so it matters. It matters to me that it matters to you that you matter in life. That we care to do that which other ones did not know to do. And that we are in a place where we have the opportunity to repent and be restored and understand the restitution and the reorientation and come into a point and place where we are literally sanctified, edified, consecrated to be the embodiment of the Spirit of the living God, Goddess, or the Spirit of Christ. Because there's not a freaking thing these people have given us that is greater than that. You understand? For all of the jobs and all of the, from the Pope to the priests to the presidents to the pastors to the psychiatrists, all these P people. We call them the PP people. The P people, right? The physicists, the pharmacists, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, the physicists, all of these P people, right? So we want to be in a place where we are not peeing ourselves away here, that we are not following these ones. We are literally in harmony and attunement with the order of existence, the light and the love of being, and the will of existence. Because there is no political consciousness that is greater than vivid self-expression and self-representation as intelligences of existence, beyond all of the categories and the things that have us divided within ourselves. And we could pat ourselves on the back for all of what we've achieved, but the issue is your achievements while you were killing yourself amount to very little other than sickness, illness, disease, and death. And to have a system in place that supports our sickness, our illness, our disease, and our death, that becomes multi-trillion-dollar business, it's like the epitome of stupidity. And for all of the heartbreak and the heartache that we experience as a result of seeing our people pass away with all of this cancer and heart disease and can't do for themselves, I'm just saying we do not have to go that way. And if you've experienced that, and if you were at the bedside, and if you had to deal with your mothers and fathers and aunties and these ones, you know, with all of the chemo and the radiation and the withering away and the blackening of their skin, you understand, if y'all dealt with all of that, then don't be doing the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the chicken, the fish, the alcohol, because the whole system in terms of the standard American diet is disease. And why should it be legal? Why should tobacco and alcohol and stuff be everywhere now? You understand? I was in Birmingham years ago, Birmingham, Alabama, years ago, and it was my first experiencing Whole Food with a bar, where people could come in the middle of the afternoon and drink, and sit and drink and socialize, and then go out and get in their cars and drive. And so I'm just saying is that, but then you got the DUI and you got all of that, but the system sets you up to fail. They set you up to just, you know, Be cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. They see you coming. Cash cows. Cash cows with the alcohol, with the cancer, with the heart disease, with the diabetes and whatnot. And then you have those ones who have been diagnosed with high blood pressure, and then they got you on 2 and 3 and 4 different high blood pressure medications. And I'm saying, why would they do that? If one doesn't work, you're going to give 2. But the whole point is that you got 100,000 miles of capillaries, veins, arteries, and blood vessels that are now clogging with all of the cholesterol, the fat, and the poison coming from the cheese and the eggs and the flesh of dead animals. But then you're narrowing the amount of space that your blood can flow, and you're narrowing the amount of oxygen that the blood can carry. And at this particular point in time, we should know better, because we've seen the strokes, we've seen the aneurysms, we've seen all of what comes as a result of insufficient oxygenation when we are breatharian first. Have to breathe. And so at this particular point in time, I'm wanting us to come to a point where we care to live in the fullness of our glory, in the fullness of our creativity, or the Creator's activity, in the fullness of the will of existence on behalf of our lineages. We were told, and we heard, thou shalt love thy mother, father, creator, God, thy Lord, with your whole body, heart, mind, with all of your might. And if we did that, then none of what we could see going on would be going on. Because you would not have people who feel as though they are entitled to deny you life. They're entitled to deny you that which you're deserving of, instead of being in a place where you've got community gardens and whatnot, you got parking lots, and you got liquor stores. You understand? I'm just saying it's a mentality of oppression that has us in a place where ones and ones have so heavily vested in those things that literally rob you of your life force and your life currency. I was downtown and near one of the courthouses, and they have all of these people just lined up on the streets with their sleeping bags and their luggage and whatnot. And I was, watching the crowd. And so this guy with locks and whatnot, I don't know, he was like, just, acting this way. And next thing you know, this guy had him on the ground, and he was just beating him and beating him and beating him and beating him. And everybody was around him, and the brother was like, get off him, get off. But they couldn't pull that brother off of him. They would not pull that brother off of him. But everybody's around. It's like we were children in the yard, and it's a fight. And nobody's trying to break up the fight, but everybody's around the fight, right? And so I'm like, these are grown folk in the street, all black people, and this is how we acting. I mean, there was one sister, she was just walking the streets. She had on socks, she didn't have on shoes. And she was just a cussing and a cussing and a cussing. And I'm just saying is that this is because of the amount of filth that's in our bloodstream from all of the years of meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, and fish, alcohol, tobacco. These things should be illegal. All right? But if you try to create, if by chance they became a government of people who were really life-oriented, and they decided to close these people down, to make it a moratorium, we will not be serving death. It will be riots in the streets. You understand? Not just with the people who are profiting from it or think that they're profiting from it. I was going through my phone and I saw a picture of what's the brother? And he's got his face on alcohol, and he ain't even cute. Snoop Dogg. That's what he got his face. I'm like, we just, Lord have mercy. And so I'm wanting us to do better. I really do. You know, we, like I said, we profit because we become proficient in whatever area of talent that we have. And some people profit and they don't really have much talent at all, but they got the balls to get up there and do what they do. And can't nobody tell them nothing. They get up there and they do what they do. Can't sing, can't dance, they do whatever they do, and people love it, you know. I'm just saying, at this particular point in time, it's not liberation. It's not liberation. For all of these ones who have come to degrees of proficiency in their gifts, in their lyricism, their musicianship, all of what we celebrate, we see that they pass away. Suicide, and there's a saying, all death is suicide. Particularly when you realize that you're already in the realm of eternity. And so we want to be in a place where we don't follow these ones. We don't mind singing, we don't mind dancing, we don't mind doing all of what we do. Let's do it up, do it right, do it till you live in its fullness. Not do it till you die. Do it and live it, love it. It's okay. But don't be killing yourself. You understand? And a lot of ones who, what we saw with Billie Holiday and Diana Ross's portrayal of it in Lady Sings the Blues, you understand, and how you've got to kind of always be on, and how so many ones get caught up in the cocaine and get caught up in the drugs because, you know, the machine just pumps you and pumps you and pumps you, and there's nothing natural about having to be on all the time, and you go from city to city and stage to stage and all of this, and then after a while, yeah, you need some stuff. It's like most people got to be on something to just live in this country, because it is just such an aberration of what it is to really live. And we do the best we can, but we're not doing the best we can. That's the issue. We're not doing the best we can. The best that we can do is to boycott the death industries, to literally clear, cleanse, consecrate, and no longer support those ones who are robbing you of your life force, those ones who have no regard, no respect, no appreciation. Let me say this, you are in tune to WRFG Atlanta. And so it matters that we have sobering conversations about the blessing and the beauty of what it is to be in sobriety. Because as long as we're inebriated and intoxicated, you cannot really outthink a system of oppression. And you can be a functional alcoholic, you could be a functional crack addict, you could be a functional whatever, but you will not live to really mature. And that's the point of the system of things, is to have us in a place where we have become addicted to whatever substances there are. We have so many youth and whatnot, and many of us may have gone through it ourselves at some particular time where the sexual energy is just so overwhelming and whatnot that you're just dissipating life currency. And I'm saying, well, you know, the actuality is that that's your creativity that you have not cultivated. It's creative energy. It's life force. It's life currency. And with the dissipation of the life currency, because there is no proper mineralization, so that you are literally cultivating your gifts, talents, skills, and abilities, then it's a dissipation of the life currency. And metaphysically, that's what Judas represented, was the wastage of the life currency, the betrayal of the Christ. And so we're having to come to a point and place where we realize that we've been given such gifts. And there's a proper time and utilization for it. But to be in a place and space where, you know, I've been in circles with sisters And every one of us experienced rape at some point, you know, and why should that be anybody's reality, that we've all been raped, we've all been aggressed, we've all been molested. You understand that? And to have that as a part of what so many girls go through, incest and all of this, and we didn't even begin to have a conversation about it until The Color Purple came out. And so it turns out that after Color Purple came out, you know, it's like, no, the sisterhood began to tell the truth. And that at this particular point in juncture, you know, to have young sisters who are dealing with all of this, and I'm saying, you talking 14, 15, 16-year-olds, 9, 10, 11-year-olds whose bodies look like almost grown women because of how much BGH hormones their body have from eating all this cow and all this pig and all of this stuff from the fast food places. We have to learn how to protect our children. We have to learn how to reorient our girls on the path of womanhood. But they can't get it from somebody who don't represent it. And so for those of us who care, then it's time for us to do better. We're at 445238989. And this is Adama before I just